Sitting alone at my small table, I lit the 2 Shabbat candles, then covered my eyes to pray the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam asher kitshanu, b'mitzvotav, butzivanu, luhadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who has sanctified us with commandments and commanded us to light Shabbat candles. When I lowered my hands and opened my eyes, some part of me hoped he would be sitting across from me, but I beheld only an empty chair. A chair that had been empty for more than 2 years. I broke a sheet of matzah and bit into a small piece, analyzing the flavor, taste, and texture as I chewed slowly. Aaron had always liked my bread, though he never said so. But he could eat an entire braided challah at one meal, and later wake in the night wanting more. His desire had given me the courage to open a booth in the marketplace, a booth that had become my livelihood since his death. I picked up a small piece of dried fish and nibbled at it, then plucked a fine bone from my tongue and set it on the table. Aaron used to eat the bones, crunching them between his teeth, but I had never been able to accept the idea that humans should eat like dogs. Bones should be removed, I told him. Soups should be sipped, and water should be strained before drinking. But he had not listened to me. He laughed off my concerns and kept eating the way he'd always eaten, even though I warned that he might die from a bone caught in his throat. I was wrong about that. It wasn't a fish that killed him, but a horse. I had just returned from the marketplace when a Roman officer appeared on my doorstep to give me the news. I had been so intimidated by the decorations on his molded breastplate and the metallic clack of his sword belt that for a moment I could not grasp the news he brought. My husband was outside in a cart, killed by a skittish Roman stallion that had reared and struck Aaron's head. My husband's parents rushed to the house as soon as they heard the news. Women from the neighborhood took Aaron's body from the cart and laid him on my table. They bathed him and tucked fragrant herbs among the linens they used to create his shroud. He had to be buried before sunset. So, still stunned, I mindlessly followed the funeral procession to the cemetery, where my in-laws and a few neighbors placed my husband in his grave. Afterward, when I returned to my small, empty home, after Aaron's parents and younger brother told me goodbye with wailing and tears, I looked out my window and saw the Roman standing across the street. He did not attempt to speak to me, nor did he approach the house. But over the next several weeks I saw him many times, his expression as intense and burning as the sun upon my skin. Pity moved my neighbors to patronize my booth, so I returned to baking, working at night to avoid the hottest hours of the day. I bake challah and matzah, and loaves of rye and fine wheat. I baked pomegranate cakes and small pies flavored with nuts. I enlarged my stone oven and carved out a small window at the back of the house to release the heat. I moved a bed to the roof and slept under the stars, while my living loaves fermented and doubled and sputtered into delicious dough. Then I baked them. And while I did the work of 2 or 3 women, my heart lay cold within my chest, silent and still. When women at the well asked how I was doing, I offered them pomegranate cake. How could I explain that it was difficult to miss a man who never seemed very present in the first place? We had been married 5 years, and I could not recall ever having an in-depth discussion on any topic. Aaron was dutiful, always coming home at the end of the day, and he never struck me. But neither did he share the thoughts that filled his head, or the memories that had shaped his heart. He rose before sunrise every morning, said his prayers, and went to the woodcutter shop. At the end of the day he came home, ate dinner, and went to bed. And on the rare occasions when he reached for me,